So, today I want to tell you about a single massive failure. And no, it's not one of those stories that ends with a surprise victory. It's about a mistake that was so huge, it ended up teaching a lesson that would last a lifetime. It's a story all about the hidden power of, well, doing nothing at all.
Wow, I mean, that's a pretty dramatic line, right? It just perfectly captures that exact second when everything went completely off the rails. So you've got to wonder, what happened? How did a race that had so much promise turn into, well, a personal hell? Let's dive in.
All right, so let's rewind a bit. Our story kicks off back in middle school. The narrator was part of this pretty cool, unique triathlon club. They were all training super hard, doing really well in competitions, and that was all setting the stage for one very, very memorable race.
And this wasn't just any old race. It was his first ever Ekiden. That's a Japanese-style marathon relay. It's pretty awesome. Instead of a baton, the runners passed this sash called a tsuki. It's a huge deal, a massive team event. And yeah, the pressure is definitely on. And for him, the pressure was just immense. Because he was chosen as the anchor, the very last runner for the team. Talk about a high-stakes role. The anchor is the one who crosses the finish line. They can literally make or break the team's final ranking. The whole thing was riding on his shoulders.
So, why him? Well, for one, his practice times were really good, he was feeling strong, and the coach totally saw him as the team's secret weapon. His mission couldn't have been clearer. Get that sash and just start passing people. Overtake as many as you can. He was the team's hope, and honestly, he was feeling pretty confident he could pull it off.
Okay, so let's fast forward to the morning of the race. All the training's in the bag, the team's pumped, and expectations are sky high. But this is where our runner makes one single fateful decision. It's a choice that probably seemed like a great idea at the time, but it was about to completely sabotage his entire race. So the race venue was 20 kilometers away. We're talking over 12 miles. And this was not some flat, easy-breezy cruise. Nope. The route was just packed with these steep, brutal hills. I mean, just getting to the race was a workout by itself. And how did he decide to tackle those 20 kilometers of hilly terrain? He got on his bicycle. He figured, hey, this will be a great warm-up to get my legs fired up for the race. So yeah, he biked the whole grueling distance right to the starting line.
Now, you have to understand the thinking here. This wasn't him being lazy or slacking off, it was the exact opposite. He was just so fired up to do well that he completely overdid it. He had no idea that rest is just as important as the actual exercise. It was a totally well-intentioned mistake, born from pure inexperience.
Okay, so picture this. He arrives, his warm-up is done, he's waiting for his turn, watching his teammates just pour their hearts out on the course. And finally, he sees his teammate coming, sash in hand. The handoff is made. It's his moment. Time to be the hero, to complete the mission. But there was this massive, massive disconnect between what he expected and what actually happened. The plan? Fly past the competition, bring it home for the team, be the hero. The reality? It was a nightmare. The second he started running, he knew something was terribly, terribly wrong. His legs felt like they were made of lead. He had no power, no speed, nothing.
Can you just imagine the sheer panic setting in? He's supposed to be the team's ace, their big hope, and he can barely even jog. He's just asking himself this question again and again in his head, totally bewildered. Why won't my legs move? He'd trained for this. He was in great shape. What on earth was happening?
Well, he finished the race, but the damage was done. Because he couldn't perform, he couldn't make up any ground. In fact, he lost ground. The team, who had been counting on him, ended up in dead last. Just a totally devastating outcome, and it was all because of that one mistake.
It actually took him years to fully piece together what happened that day. As an adult, looking back on it, the reason for the failure became painfully obvious. It had nothing to do with a lack of talent or a lack of effort. It was a complete misunderstanding of what it even means to prepare. And this gets to the absolute heart of the lesson. We tend to think of training as just the hard stuff, right? The running, the lifting, the reps. But real training is actually a cycle. It includes the stress of exercise and the strategic rest that lets your body heal, adapt, and actually get stronger. Rest isn't the opposite of training. It's a critical part of training.
And when you look at it that way, his mistake becomes crystal clear, doesn't it?
That 20-kilometer bike ride wasn't a warm-up, not even close. It was a whole separate endurance race that he finished just minutes before his actual race began. He'd burned through his entire gas tank before he even got to the starting line.
So, okay, a middle school running story. Why should the rest of us care? Because this idea applies to literally everything, not just sports. I mean, think about it. Whether you're cramming for a huge exam, prepping for a major presentation at work, or any other high-stakes events, the same rules apply.
So here are the big takeaways. First off, real preparation is all about balance. It's about working smart, not just working hard. Second, we have to completely change how we think about rest. It is not laziness. It's a strategic weapon for success. And finally, and this is a big one, sometimes our most painful, embarrassing failures are the ones that teach us the most valuable lessons of all. That one awful experience taught him about preparation and rest in a way no coach or book ever could have. It was a lesson literally forged in failure. And that brings me to a final question for you to chew on. What's a mistake you've made that, looking back on it now, you realize was actually an incredibly important lesson?